this.
What's going on, guys? Let's talk about something that I've talked about changing, or should talk about, is changing the mechanic in the game or altering it, and that mechanic is the amount of life points we have. Now I know what you're thinking already, that already sounds kind of dumb, but hear me out, just hear me out, why I think the life point counter should be changed slightly to increase our life points. So in this game, I've already talked about before how we have so many cards that to activate effect, you have to do a cost to lose life points. That's pretty much the norm. And whether it be traps, spells, or monsters, there are a lot of cards that require you to lose life points to use that card, which some people can fight argue on that. Like I said, I think they should start to change that, but some people say that's kind of the way it should be for it to have some type of against you to activate an effect, and I get that. So if that's going to be the case, and more cards are going to do it, it's making games, I don't want to say shorter, because that's not necessarily what's happening, but with so much inflicting, it's making something, it's basically cutting your life points way down on both sides of the spectrum. And with how fast decks are right now, the game just does not last as long as it used to. Even really intense duels that can maybe go a little while still don't last that long, because after your opponent takes so much damage by that he inflicted onto himself, it doesn't take much for you to destroy him, and vice versa. So it's making it where the games are just not lasting that long, and in fact some games are super quick. And that's always kind of how it's been the past few years, but with all these cards also destroying our own life points on top of this, it's just kind of making it even, games last even shorter and easier for one person to win, or quicker anyways. Along with that, it's kind of similar to how back in the day when I was younger and cards didn't do that as much. For my friends and I, for us to make duels go quicker, or we'd be at this after school, not after school program, the summer program, we didn't have as much time to duel. We would do duels with only 4,000 life points each, and the duels would go by pretty quick, but those duels lasted about how quick the duels are lasting now, because decks are so easy and quick and strong, on top of the fact that to defend yourself from your opponent's strong deck, you have to inflict life points to yourself. So it's just slowly making the game even quicker and quicker. So what I wanted to talk about is what would really be the difference if we increase the life points to 10,000, 2,000 extra life points. What would that do for the game? What would change for the game? So right off that bat, a very common trap card that is used to protect yourself from your opponent's summons in general is Soul Morning. That's 2,000 damage. So if you had 10,000 life points, 2,000 damage to yourself, right there you are at 8,000 back to our normal life point counter. But your opponent would also have the same life points as well, obviously. So would having that maybe equal out the game a little bit and maybe make it last a little longer with how fast our decks are? I'm not sure, because I don't really have a way to test that unless I tested it with a friend. But online, you can't really dev pro test it, because everybody's playing with 8,000 life points. They're playing for what they're expecting to be in competitive scene, or just to play the actual game's rules. But I think having more life points could probably help it. Maybe a smidgen poo. I know there's a lot of people that would argue to that to like the furthest degree, to be like, no way, man, no, that's impossible. We could never increase the life points. And don't get me wrong, I don't think it's ever probably gonna happen, even if this game got even faster. But I'm just saying, with all the inflicting that we do, an increase in life points might be able to not necessarily slow down the game, but maybe have a little bit of dual longevity. Some people might not care about that. I personally do. That's kind of what got me into the game, is having like an intense duel where you're going back and forth. And I still have games like that once in a while. I really do. But it's not as common, because I had a time where I used like 2 Solemn cards, or it might have been Time Space Trap Hole. Is that the one where you take 1,000 life points per monster? I don't know. I did a lot of damage to myself just to protect myself from a big opponent's play. And he came back with another play next turn and completely destroyed me. The game lasted like 3 turns. And that happens a lot in this game. And not saying that an extra 2,000 life points would help me there if I had 10,000 life points, but there are a lot of situations I could see where that 2,000 life points can be the deciding factor of how short a game ends. And it's not like you'd be at an advantage towards your opponent, because your opponent would also have 10,000 life points. But like I said, this is just a thought. It kind of goes in the same line of me talking about how maybe if in the future they would increase deck size to 50. That's another topic. I think I've already talked about that before. But the life points thing, I've never really seen that many people mention. I feel like it's something that we could do. On the other side, if we're not going to do that, to counteract all the impact on our life points we have in all these cards, something Konami could maybe introduce is a lot more cards that are increase our life points. Not the really weak ones that we have right now. There's not really great cards to increase your life points. So a deck that, some single cards that could come out to maybe increase your life points in a better way, or a more feasible playability way. That'd be a good thing to counteract too, instead of increasing the life points cap. But let me know down below, what do you think? Do you think Konami maybe one day or should increase the amount of life points if they're not going to change how decks are playing right now, or just make more cards that raise our life points in a more playability competitive way, which I think is more feasible than they would actually do. But let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are, and I will see you later. Peace.
Damn.